Hi, I'm Bill Rice. I am the CEO of Messer Financial and one of the founding partners. We created the Legacy program in direct response to concerns that our agents had in regards to they're building this wonderful book of business, right? They're hopefully making a great living. God forbid something happens to them, they want to make sure that their family is taken care of. And that's difficult in insurance. Left to its own, if it's MedAdvantage, there are laws that require the agent to be ready to sell in order for the insurance carrier to pay the commissions. And obviously, if they pass away, there's no longer an agent attached to the policy, and the carriers by law cannot pay. So we see the carriers somewhere between 60 and 90 days will simply stop paying. So God forbid, an agent passes away and they've built this wonderful book and they're making, $300,000 a year, just say $25,000 a month. Well, in 60 to 90 days, that check just stops coming and their family is denied that legacy, if you will. The way in the past that agents used to be able to try and get around that was they'd have to incorporate an agency. They'd have to try and find somebody to be that agent if they passed away. Then there's a worry of, can they trust that person? Is their spouse going to get licensed? It was rather difficult, and there was always uncertainty around it. So we went to our law firm and they crafted the Legacy program for us, which basically is an addendum to our existing Messer contract. And it allows the agent, God forbid that they pass away, to sell their book of business to us. We immediately take the agent a record when they pass away, and we contractually agree to pay their family all of that money for 10 years. The lifetime of a MedAdvantage policy is about 8 years, thus the 10 years on it that we're taking care of that family and allowing that money to continue on to that family. We're licensed in every state, so Roy Messer becomes the agent of record. We have an internal group here that services those policies, and all of that money, every penny of it, continues to pay to that beneficiary's, whether that's their spouse or their kids or their sister or their mother. It continues on that money. And it's not just MedAdvantage, because some agents get confused and they think, well, that's not true on the ACA side, because they say insurance carriers continue to pay that. And that is true, except we all know in the ACA market, two carriers win every year, the two lowest price carriers. So if you have a book of 1,000 clients and they're with, let's just say United Healthcare, and then God forbid after you pass away, United Healthcare pulls out of that market, as we've seen, not from them, but from other carriers, or they just become uncompetitive, those 1,000 clients have to be moved to another carrier, and your family would lose all of that money if you're not here to be able to service them. And the Legacy program, we're protecting the client, not the carrier. So we would move those clients and still pay your family that money, right? So it's significant on both sides of that. And the whole goal is simply to protect your family. For our agents and the agents that take advantage of it, they love it. I mean, it's truly peace of mind, right? They've built this amazing book of business. It gives them peace of mind knowing that they've protected their families in order to do it. On the outside, sometimes we see people have disbelief, right? They think, oh, that's not possible, right? And so we have to explain to them and show them the contract so they can understand what it is we're trying to do. And then of course, there's the natural hesitation of, why would you do that? And I think that's because most FMOs, they're businesses that exist to make money. We feel like insurance agents have a fiduciary responsibility to their client. By law, they're supposed to do the right thing for their client above their own interest. So when Roy and I created Messer, we felt like our fiduciary responsibility now flows to the agent. So we're supposed to put the agent's interest above ours. And I think we're unique as an FMO in that we're the only ones that do that. This is our actions, not our words, saying, hey, we actually care, right? So we are doing what we can to help preserve your book of business, that can go to your family if something happens to you. It's totally free. It's a voluntary addendum to our contract, and it's 100% revocable. So if they grow and become a big agency and decide they no longer need it, they can simply revoke it. But we encourage even our agencies that have partners, we encourage them to still do it as a plan B, because a lot of times partners travel together and they may both pass away in the same car wreck or airline or whatever. And then what happens to that money if there's no partner there to actually service it, right? Because one of those two partners or both of them are attached to different contracts, and the same laws would apply and not allow that to be serviced. So we can absolutely be that backup plan for an agency to make sure that that money continues on to their families or to their agency while it's being reorganized, who knows. But it's certainly better than crossing your fingers and hoping something happens, right? Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Bill Rice. I am the CEO with Messer Financial Group. Excited to share with you today our legacy program. I've been in the business, here at Messer for 20 years, and I can't tell you the thousands and thousands of conversations I have had over the years with agents who are worried about, trying to leave their legacy to their families and protecting their books of business. And up to this moment, it's been a challenge. It's been a question of folks having to, get their agency license, set up a corporation, and, is their spouse willing to get licensed, and the difficulties with all of that. So we have heard you guys, and we are excited to share with you the easiest way to protect your book of business and protect your family. So that's what we want to talk about today, is a legacy planning made easy. And I don't know of any easier way to do it than the way that we've done it. And we are excited to offer this to you guys. And we want to talk to you about why we're doing this. And that's kind of part of the conversation. So if you have questions, just feel free to type them in there, and we will stay as long as you guys want when the presentation is over to answer all questions and make sure that you guys have all of the information that you need. So we're going to talk about the Messer contract and why and how this is going to work for you. So for those of you who are contracted with us, you have completed a Messer rep agreement. And for those of you that haven't, if you choose to contract with us, these are the sections that I want you to pay attention to in your contract. Now, all of us do contracts every time you get appointed with the carrier. There's, gazillion pages of officialese in there, but these things have always existed in the regular Messer rep agreement. It says commissions after death. Now, this is something that is unique to Messer, and we have always done. And I'll be in a room with 100 people, and I ask, how many of you read your Messer rep agreement? And 2 hands will go up. Most of us just sign them and never really read them because, you're adhering to a carrier contract, like you're going to get United Healthcare to change their terms, right? Or any carrier for that matter. So we mostly just sign them. But inside of our contract, we have always done this from day one, whereas we've said, listen, any commissions that are coming to you, God forbid you pass away, we are going to continue to pay your unlicensed beneficiary 2 beneficiaries deep. And the thought process for that was really this simple. We assumed if something happened to you, you likely wanted it to go to your spouse. And if something happened to your spouse, you likely wanted it to go to the kids. That's what I would want for me. That's what Roy Messer would want in his case. And so we said, we're going to protect you guys, and we're going to make sure that we pay those commissions to your family. So we've always done that from the very beginning of Messer. And we've also vested commissions. It says 100% your commissions are yours. As long as they pay to us, you have a contractual right to those commissions, period, end of story. But the challenge is on the Med Advantage side, when you pass away, the government doesn't allow the insurance carriers to continue to pay those commissions. So it's usually about 60 days out, maybe 90 days, depending on the carrier, that they're notified that you passed away. They will stop paying commissions to your family. And then even on like the ACA side, for example, those would continue to pay, but the challenge would be there's nobody there to service that book of business. If you have where everybody in the ACA would know Bright Health exited the marketplace, we had agents who had hundreds and even thousands of members, there. And if they happened to have passed away, there would have been nobody there to rewrite that for the benefit of their family. So a 6-figure income could have disappeared overnight. So that's where the legacy addendum is going to come in. And so we're going to talk with you a little bit about how we have improved upon the language that's in our contract to ensure that we can protect you and your family. So the first thing is we have created a legacy addendum, if you will, to our contract. So it's voluntary. You don't have to sign it, but it's an addendum to our Messer rep agreement. And for those of you that are interested, when the meeting's over, you're going to send us an email, and we're going to email you that addendum, and you will simply fill it out and send it back. That's how easy this is going to be. But basically, in a nutshell, what it says is, God forbid that you pass away, you are selling your book of business to us. Now, this is a revocable assignment, so you can take it back anytime that you want. But God forbid you pass away, we will immediately go after your book of business, move it over to us, and I contractually guarantee you that I'm going to pay the full commissions on all of those products to your beneficiary. We had two happen in January. One was a young man who passed away. These are both six-figure books. And he passed away unexpectedly in an accident, and we were able to protect that book for the benefit of his mother. So the entire book goes to his mother. We're not keeping any of the money, but we are paying his mother the money. The other is a gentleman who was in his late 70s who was healthy, was not expected that he passed away, but he had recently just completed the legacy addendum, and we are paying his widow. Even though one of her sons is a licensed agent, they made the decision that they wanted us to service the book and pay to his widow. And again, both of these are very large six-figure books, and it's accomplished simply by the addendum. So let's see if I can pull up the addendum real quick and just kind of show it to you. It's a 10-page addendum, guys. And just the long and short of it is, you're going to sign it. You're going to have it notarized. If you are married and you choose to have somebody besides your spouse as the beneficiary, you need to have your spouse sign it. In some states, that's a requirement. In other states, it's not. But this is going to protect whoever you make the beneficiary. I hope if you're making it somebody besides, to protect you and avoid litigation, and maybe invalidate your wishes, is really important you cover it with your spouse. Maybe you guys have plenty of money and you want it to go to your kids. I don't know. But if for some reason you choose that beneficiary to be somebody besides your spouse, they would need to sign the addendum as well. So you're going to tell us who the beneficiary is. You're going to have contingent beneficiaries in here as well. So like in the case where we're protecting the widow, she's comparable age to the gentleman who passed away. So God forbid she could pass away a year from now. He had made arrangements that it would go to his two sons. And so we would honor those wishes and continue to pay that. So that's important. That's on there. So you can see it's normal information. You guys have all done insurance applications. So we're looking for Social Security, date of birth. Those are just unique identifiers because, if your name is John Smith or the beneficiary is John Smith, you can imagine there's lots of John Smiths in the phone book or on Google. So we got to make sure we get the right John Smith and that, two people don't come up and try and claim it. As well. Everything is notarized when it comes back to us, again, just so that we have less problems later. You're signing it and having it notarized. And then you're going to list the carriers. Now, this is only going to work for MedAdvantage and ACA. So you're going to list those carriers there. And this is what we're able to go to the insurance carrier and say, John Smith, before he passed away, made arrangements with us to agent of record his book over, and we would provide this document to them, and it would list the carriers. So if you don't list the carrier, we're not able to go get it for you. And just so we're clear, this is legacy addendum is available for agents who do business through Messer Financial. So we're not going to be able to do this for you if the contract is not with us. We are actually losing money in this deal because we're not keeping any of the money. So I'm not saying, hey, we'll take 50 and we'll continue to give your family 50. We are guaranteeing you we're going to give all of the money to your family. So, we make a small override, and the override is not for servicing the business. But moving forward, we're going to do all of the service work for these policies and still get only whatever small override we're getting. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do to help be good partners with you guys. And I've always said, listen, everybody wants to stand next to you when the sun is shining. That's how you find out who your real friends are, is when it's raining, who's still standing beside you. And I would say we are. And not only will we be there, but we'll be holding an umbrella over your head because we're real partners. We care about you guys. We want to help you be successful and build strong books of business. In insurance, what do? We're protecting people, when unforeseen circumstances happen. Well, this is the same thing. We don't want anything to happen to anybody, but if it does, we want you to know that we're there protecting your family, and we're offering a legacy program that is unique. It's the only one that I'm aware of in the entire country. We're the only FMO that offers it. And it's because we're probably the only one that's willing to do it and lose money because it's the right thing to do to help you guys protect your book of business. So you got to list the carriers there for me. You would sign it and be careful of the names that you list. Sometimes there's companies have similar names. So if it's Aetna MA, that's different than Aetna ACA. Those are two different contracts. Make sure you list it the appropriate way so we don't have a carrier go, oh, this isn't us, okay? So, and this is a revocation form. So if you change your mind, The examples could be that you then create an agency, maybe you have a partner or your spouse does come into the business and you both hold a license and you want to revoke it. You simply would fill out this form. It's 100% revocable, guys. So as life changes and your needs change, you certainly can come back and take it away. But if today you're going, like in my case, my wife's never going to get licensed. That's not likely to ever happen. I would want to take advantage of it. So you can see how simple it is. It's not real deep verbose pages. And a lot of it is just filler, notary pages or whatever. It's basically simply saying what I told you, which is what happens to the commissions after your death. So simple and easy, I hope. So the legacy is part of Messer's value prop and why you might choose to do business with Messer Financial. You guys work every single day, whether you're selling health insurance or whether you're selling life insurance, and you're protecting families. And that's what it is that we do. I've told this story many times is, listen, if you're at church and you say, I sell insurance, nobody wants to make eye contact with you. Because in some cases, and I blame the car insurance guys, we have a bad reputation. But the reality is there are pushy salespeople in every profession. But the reality is we help people. We protect people. God forbid somebody gets ill. They can go to the best hospital and get the best procedures because you guys have protected them. And God forbid somebody passes away and you guys have sold them life insurance. People can deliver all the casseroles they want. But if you're delivering, $1 million life insurance check or a $500,000 life insurance check, you're really making a difference in that family's life. They're able to keep a roof over everybody's head, food on the table, and hopefully the kids can still go to college. And that's what we do. So the same thing is true for us, which is, we want to help protect you guys. Your clients are buying insurance from you. You are my clients. So we want to help protect you guys. And that's part of what the legacy addendum does, is helps to protect you. God forbid some unforeseen circumstance happens to you. And the reality is death is going to happen for all of us, right? I think, with one exception, I think we all go out, at the end, whether that happens to be, as in January, one young person and one person who was older, but neither of them were expected deaths. They were both unexpected deaths. So part of our mission statement is to help talented agents close more sales. So lots of FMOs want to give out contracts. We're not so interested in giving out contracts. We want to help you be successful and making money. So I wanted to kind of walk you through the story of what it is that we do. So these are statistics from NAHU that they polled, and they said a carrier says a new agent for them, when they bring on a new agent, writes 12. Now this is an average number, writes 12 cases a year for them. With Messer, with our all-in agents, we actually write double that number. So when we bring on a new agent into our all-in program, they write double that number. NAHU says an independent agent, a new independent agent, produces 23 applications in a year. Our Messer all-in agents produce 3 times that number. Now, none of those numbers are something to get excited about because nobody's paying their bills, certainly on writing 12 policies in a year, not even 77 policies in a year. But the big deal is if you can write 77 in your first year, you're at least starting to put down some roots, and the potential of you being able to survive in this business and actually build a successful business is increased significantly if you issue 77 rather than 23 policies in your first year. You guys can do the math. It's not a huge income, but what does that propel you for into the second year, which is, hopefully you're able to get over a couple hundred and you become, professional and can survive in this business, which is an amazing business. So I wanted to share with you a few of the advantages that Messer offers and how we help people be successful. So again, we're the only FMO I know of that offers free E&O. That's cost you $550 if you get a good plan. I know there's some cheap plans out there for $400 and something, but they're not going to cover disability, long-term care or annuities. Our E&O is a $5 million plan that we're providing, and it covers all of that. So you're not going to have holes inside of that. So it's a tremendous E&O plan. Again, when somebody's brand new in the business, $500 is a decent amount of money. And I don't care if you're making 6 figures, why throw out $550? You could put that in your IRA rather than pay for E&O when we're going to provide it for you. Same thing with AHIP, $150 value. If you write a lot of business with a carrier, you could qualify for it after the fact. we're going to provide it the first time for you, and then we're going to provide it every year. So whether you write a bunch of business in one carrier or you spread it out, you're always going to have AHIP with us. We'll provide a free website to you. On the ACA, it will also have consumer-facing enrollment, so your consumers could go to the website and enroll themselves. In the ACA on MedAdvantage, they would submit a form that would come to you so you could complete the enrollment, but we provide that totally free for you. We have a lead program where you can start the season. This is for MedAdvantage with free leads during, to start the season. And then you earn free leads during the AEP. You earn free leads during and for the SEP. So the goal is to kind of prime the pump, and then through production, you qualify for more leads, and it just builds and builds on itself. We now have automatic comp reconciliation for ACA. That's a huge deal, guys. I am a big believer that on the ACA side, that agents are cheated out of millions of dollars worth of commissions every year. It is very, very hard to audit and reconcile your ACA commissions. If you only write 5, it's very easy because you only got 5 to look at. But if you write 100, 200, 500, or 1,000, it's almost impossible to actually reconcile your commissions on the ACA because clients cannot pay their premiums for 60 days, right? Before they actually terminate them. So they can be on your statement, off of your statement, on your statement, off of your statement. And the reality is, if you have 500 clients, it's hard to look on there and see that John Smith is missing in the middle of it. So what we have done is built into our platform. So you have to use the MyMFG platform. We're the only FMO in the country that offers a single platform that can enroll MedAdvantage and ACA. Everybody else has 2 separate platforms. We have one platform with one CRM, fully functional CRM, by the way, where you can enroll both. But if you enroll your clients through MyMFG, it will automatically reconcile them for you so that when your statement comes out, it's going to be looking for the clients that you wrote. You will be able to log into MyMFG and you will be able to see your entire book of business, and you will know what's active, what hasn't paid you, and what's terminated. And that's a really, really important distinction. So you'll know what's active, no big deal there. That's what you're being paid on. You will know what has not paid you on it. And the great thing is you will be able to click on that client and you will be able to see the emails we've sent to the carriers saying, hey, Agent Bill Rice wrote, client Cindy Smith, and it's not on the statement. Why? And we'll provide all of the documents they need to look it up. And then you will see the response from the carrier on the results of that. And hopefully that is, they made a mistake and you're going to get paid for it. But if they put on there that the client's policy is terminated or the policy was AOR'd away, that is incredibly important information for you that you did not have before, particularly on the ACA side, guys, because you guys are familiar with that, right? MedAdvantage, the new regulations that came into play and how hard they're cracking down on advertising. And what that has done is that has driven a lot of the call centers that were in the MA space that were playing loose and fast with the rules over to the ACA side, which is the wild, wild west because we don't have rules and regulations governing sales on the ACA. And what we are seeing in droves is clients are being moved without their permission. So you guys are great agents. You do a wonderful job. You take good care of your clients. But they will somehow get the information and 10 of your clients will disappear and they'll say, I didn't enroll with them, but the clients just did. Unless you bump into it through blind luck, you're never going to know. With this system now, it will automatically tell you, so you'll log in and you'll be able to see 10 of your clients, the AOR changed. You can call your clients and go, hey, Bill, what happened? You moved away from me, and they'll say, no, I didn't. I want you to be my agent, and you can proactively do 2 things. One, you'll get those clients moved back to you, and the other is help us to file CMS complaints so we can get these guys that are doing this terminated from the industry. It's also very, very important on the MedAdvantage side. I don't believe that carriers are not actually paying us on purpose on MedAdvantage. On the ACA, part of me feels like, yes, agents are cheated. On the MedAdvantage, I don't see that as much, but what I do see is 2 very large national carriers have a tendency to take clients away from us. So if you enroll your client, they will get a phone call from the carrier, and the next thing you know, they have been moved over direct to the carrier. One of the carriers, if you roll the MedAdvantage, will send a postcard for MedSup, and they call in and they get AOR'd over. And if you roll them on a MedSup, they'll get a card for MedAdvantage, and they'll be moved over. So again, you'll be able to log in and it'll simply tell you, hey, these policies are not active anymore and why. So you can call them up and they'll be able to say, oh, no, I never intended to leave you. I simply called in to get a new ID card or whatever to ask about something, and they moved you away. So huge deal here, guys. Want to make sure you're paid every penny that you earned, and you don't have to do anything anymore other than log into your system. So if you were one of the rare agents who is reconciling their commissions, man, we're just going to save you hours and hours of time every month, which is time that you can either reinvest into quality time with your family, or you can invest in go out prospecting and have an even bigger book because of that. So that is a huge new deal. Free access to MyMFG. That is the only platform in the industry, again, that I'm aware of that offers MedAdvantage and ACA enrollment in the same place. So for those of you that only sell in MedAdvantage or only sell ACA, it's the same platform. So a lot of times people are resistant to adding additional products because of, how do I write it? Where does it go? The learning curve of it. This makes it easy because it's the exact same platform. So if you can enroll one, you can enroll the other. And listen, if you're enrolling ACA, your clients are going to turn 65. You're able to do that. If you're writing MedAdvantage and you're doing a good job, they're giving you referrals to their kids, and you can write ACA plans. And ACA can be done entirely over the phone, and it's very easy to enroll. So there's no cost for this platform. It has a full CRM with it, and it also includes call recording. While there is no mandate for recording your calls on the ACA, we encourage you to do it. It's a simple process. It's part of the platform, and it will protect you, because inevitably if somebody says, I didn't say that, or I didn't give them permission, and you can provide a recording, and we have had to use it. The most recent one was an agent, client in South Carolina said they didn't enroll, and the agent did it through us and was able to provide the recording. So it was a big fat nothing burger. I don't know why the client said it, if they got confused, but it's there to protect you. So if I'm you guys, I would absolutely take advantage of it, because it's not costing you anything to be able to do that. All part of that process, all for free. Again, the auto comp reconciliation is now live in there for you. And then, of course, the last one is the legacy planning to ensure your hard-earned commissions can go to your family. That's a lot of peace of mind. You guys work very hard to protect other people, and we should be protecting you and your families as well. So this legacy addendum gives you the ability to make sure if something terrible happens, you are protected and your family is protected. So if you're not with Messer, I would ask you, should you consider change? So for those of you that have seen this before, that's the dodo bird. And of course, the dodo bird is extinct, and the dodo bird is extinct because it didn't adapt to change. And I thought that was kind of relevant to a little bit of what we've seen, in the industry. So for those of you that are at least as old as me, you will remember Sears. And I don't want to say Sears was the largest company, but it was the most dominant company probably in U.S. history. It was in every fabric of this country. Sears sold cars. Sears created Dean Witter, which actually purchased Morgan Stanley. They created Allstate. You guys know plenty of their other brands. They built homes. But the year that Sears and Roebuck did away with their catalog, again, for those of you that are old enough, you'll remember we ordered everything out of the catalog, is the exact year that Amazon filed to be a company. So the year Sears said, hey, this business is no longer viable, Amazon was born and said, hey, this is a great business. Now look at Sears today, which is basically a dead man walking, and Amazon is if not the largest company in the world, but certainly the largest retailer, doing really well. Everybody will remember Blockbuster. There was a time when there was a Blockbuster on every corner, and today there is, and I think there were 20,000 Blockbusters, 50,000 Blockbusters. I remember there were a lot. There's one left today, and it's just kind of a novelty store or whatever. But Blockbuster refused to innovate and change. Some people don't know Blockbuster actually had an opportunity to buy Netflix, and they laughed at them and poo-pooed them and said that their business model would never work. They could have bought Netflix, offered to sell to them for $50 million. They would have taken less. That was simply their initial offer, and Blockbuster refused it. Today, Blockbuster is worth, not Blockbuster, Netflix is worth something like $200 billion. And of course, Blockbuster is worth absolutely zero because, they're gone as a company. BlackBerry, you guys, for those of you that, again, go back with me to the kind of the beginning of cell phones, BlackBerry was dominant. but they refused to adapt and change. They wanted that QWERTY keyboard, and they thought that was the greatest thing in the world, and they refused to adapt. So today, their technology still exists, but as far as having any dominance in the smartphone industry, they do not. And of course, America Online, the old dial-up system, and had an opportunity to dominate the market, could have been Google. Today is pretty much nothing. So who took their place? You guys know, of course, Amazon, Netflix, the iPhone, Samsung, and of course, Google are all companies that are worth billions of dollars, when all of these companies had the opportunity to have that success first. So these are some examples of people who did not make great decisions. So the first one you're not going to have any sympathy for, or none of us should shed a tear for, but Pixar. People don't realize that Pixar was actually owned by George Lucas, which was his Industrial Light and Magic shop, and he brought in Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs did capital raises, and rather than George Lucas putting in money, he simply opted out of the company. And so he gave up his stake. And today, well, not today, but Steve Jobs actually sold it to Disney for $21.4 billion. So that's what George Lucas could have had. So he's still a billionaire, but not $21.4 billion worth. So he clearly made a bad decision. Ron Wayne is a name you guys may not know, but he took $800. Had he not taken that $800, I did this slide like 2 years ago, I think, so I haven't updated the dollar amounts, but he was the third partner in Apple, guys, and they each put in $800, and he wanted his money back rather than continuing. So 2 years ago, his $800 would have been worth $68.6 billion at Apple's evaluation 2 years ago. So that may be the worst decision in the history of the world, but that's what it cost him. Roy Raymond is a name you guys may not recognize. He took $1 million. Had he not done that, that company is worth $6.4 billion, but he sold Victoria's Secret. And he felt so bad about it, guys, he actually committed suicide. He jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco because he couldn't believe he made such a bad decision. Spencer Haywood is a name you may not recognize, but you will recognize the name Michael Jordan. Before Michael Jordan, Nike actually offered Spencer Haywood that deal, and they offered him a good chunk of the company, and he said no, he would rather have $100,000. Now he argues and he says it's his agent who said that, not him, but either way, he got $100,000 rather than what his interest would have been in Nike at $11.6 billion before Michael Jordan came along. So James Earl Jones is a name you guys most likely definitely recognize. Very, very famous actor who was in Star Wars, the voice of Darth Vader, and he was offered points on the back end of Star Wars for $7,000 for his voiceover work. He chose the $7,000, guys. Had he taken the points, he would have earned actually more than $47.5 million now, because it'll go up every year as he doesn't get those royalties. But he chose $7,000. And Alec Guinness, who played Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, was also offered points on the back end, or $35,000. He chose points on the back end, and his family today still gets money off of Star Wars. And so far, that's amounted to $95 million. So decisions you make today, how can they impact you tomorrow? You're not going to have a partner who's going to fight for you harder than we will. We're stronger together. So that's us. And we've always kind of fancied ourselves a co-op, and we work for you guys. We're not asking you to work for us. We work for you. You're the boss. So we're going to earn your business. We will do things like offer the legacy addendum, offer commissions reconciliations to help your business be that much better and to protect you if something goes wrong. So we want you to know we're here to help you every step of the way.
I have been in the insurance business for January was 32 years. I started with Messer 5 years ago. I really liked Messer's legacy plan. If something happened, because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, and I really like if something happens to me that my family has options. And Messer's been really good. The paperwork was real easy. I've built a nice little business here, and if something happens to me, if I don't make it home, I know that my family has options. And with my wife, and we've got 3 grown kids, but I want to make sure that what I've built is not dissolved if something happens to me. And yeah, the legacy means a lot. It really does. I don't think my wife will get licensed. I know she would probably just sell the business, but that gives her the legacy. It offers her that option. And I don't know other FMOs or IMOs. I don't know. From what I understand, a lot of them don't have anything like that, and that means a lot to me. It does.
I was at a health fair last week with a representative, but she worked for a different FMO. I started talking and said, how do they treat you? She said, no, I don't know, and this and that. And then I started going, boom, Messer helps me with my Medicare A and B payment as a retired person. What else? They sign a document, a legacy document, we call it at Messer, where if something were to happen to me, on the way home I have an auto accident, I'm gone. Without skipping a beat, my renewal income continues the next month to my designee, whoever I list. And my fellow agents from other places say, what, isn't that illegal? Don't they have to get certified and licensed and all that stuff? No, Messer has worked it out, and there's some method of buying my book and distributing it, etc.
So we're going to go to questions and answers and see whether you guys had any questions about it. It's a very, very simple process, guys. There's nothing complicated about it. It's an addendum. We're happy to send it out to everybody so you can look at it. And it is nothing more than, God forbid you pass away, we're going to take that book of business and we are going to continue to pay your family as long as that business is on the books. We will pay your family. It's for a period of 10 years, and we don't take any of the money at all. Now, the reality is I'm never going to do as good a job of servicing that book as you are going to, but we're going to do a much, much, much better job than if you have nothing in place, because the individual carriers can't pay you on MedAdvantage, and on the ACA side, you're at the mercy of it. Is the plan even competitive next year? We would move it to another plan and continue to pay your family. Because we're going to protect you on the client. So,
will the beneficiary receive renewal commissions associated with policies that were sold before contracting with Messer?
yes. So if you move the contract to us, like your book is your book, so we will grab those once you move to us. It's just if the contract's not with us, I can't grab it for you. But that's a good question.
What about carriers that we don't currently offer here at Messer? For example, Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Mexico or Louisiana.
We definitely have Blue Cross of New Mexico and Blue Cross of Louisiana. We're working on onboarding now. You can talk to me about exceptions. Those would be just one-on-one conversations. We try and have every relevant carrier that's out there. So, but we're willing to talk to you about if there's a legitimate exception out there.
They're saying they have a contract with Kaiser. What happens with that business?
So that would stay. That would continue to pay you direct. So we wouldn't take any commissions. Where you're getting right now, you'd continue to get paid from those commissions. We wouldn't interfere in that at all. I'm not sure if that answers that question or not, but we wouldn't be involved in those commissions.
Do you want to go through the getting started process of how to transfer contracts to Messer?
So we're still going to answer questions, guys, but this is showing you, if you'll go to messerfinancial.com/get started. That'll help you walk through. And ours, we use SureLC for our contracting. So you're going to go in, enter your name, your date of birth, your address, all that stuff. You will choose the contracts that you want to do with us. You don't have to fill out every contract. It will import the information. You type your name one time, it's going to go into every contract. That'll start the process. If you don't have the contract, it'll get it. If you're already appointed, that'll help us to start the process to request transfers. To get you going, but it's that simple. And of course, there's our phone number. That's the extension for the marketing team. And of course, we're happy to have one-on-one conversations with you.
Have any carriers challenged the legacy program?
No, nor would they. Most of the carriers, you can purchase books of business. That's very normal in this industry. So I've never known a carrier to have a problem with it. And we've had no problems. We've actually done 4 so far. And we've had no issues with it.
All right. So we have a couple more questions about what carriers that we have.
So ACA is going to be pretty much every carrier, unless there's a small regional carrier I'm not familiar with. But we're the largest ACA FMO in the country, I think. We're number one with, Aetna and United, a number of the Blues. We're definitely in the top, probably three with most other carriers. And then on MedAdvantage, we have every national carrier, lots of regional carriers. But again, we may not have a small regional carrier. But if you go to our website, it does list them, all the carriers in there so you can see.
If a client decides to change their plan, then the new agent would become the agent of record, right?
Well, so two answers. So if somebody passes away, we would become the agent of record via a block transfer, right? So that's what allows us to get the business and then continue to pay your beneficiary. Now, if it's outside of that, if one of your clients chooses to work with another agent, yes, the agent of record could change, and somebody could take that away from you. On the commission reconciliation, what I believe is a lot of times clients are stolen from you guys, and the client doesn't even realize it, and you don't know it because of how cumbersome it is. Our reconciliation will make it very easy for you to go, wow, these 10 clients left me. And in some cases, it might be somebody that you didn't even realize that they moved away from you, and they didn't realize it. So you're able to collect it back through our, making the reconciliation so easy now.
Can a charity be named a beneficiary?
No, it has to be a person, and I don't know why. That's some legality, I think. When the lawyers drew it up, it said it has to be a natural person. So,
how would an agent, if they already have the addendum with us, find out who they have as their beneficiaries? Where would they find out that information? Would they simply have to reach out to us, or can they find out in MyMFG?
I don't think it's in MyMFG. They would need to call into finance, and finance has access to the addendums and would be able to pull yours and tell you who you listed as your beneficiary. And of course, you can update it at any time. It's your document. So if you want to change the beneficiary, for example, God forbid you get divorced, right, and you no longer want the ex-wife to get everything, you would just need to update it. If you don't, God forbid you pass away, she's going to get your money and your new wife may be pissed off at you. So be careful.
If an agent's commissions are not paid through Messer and they're directly paid by the carrier, will the addendum or legacy policy still be allowed?
It would. So because what we do is we're going to go to the carrier, again, God forbid you pass away, and we would effect an agent of record change. So the commissions then would pay to us after your death. So which is what we want, so that we then have the money and can turn around and make sure whoever your beneficiary is gets all of that money. So, and that's how it is on most of the cases on MedAdvantage, is the carriers are paying agents direct, not us anyway. So
how would an agent go about moving a book of business from another FMO?
So you can't actually move the book of business. What happens is you just transfer to us, and so that book of business, you're likely being paid from the carrier directly, will still pay you. It's just if you write something new, when you go into MyMFG and you write your new app, when you transfer to us, any new business you write comes through us. But when you write new business through MyMFG, that's where the reconciliation. So you're likely rewriting all of your policies. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them each year. So as you put them into MyMFG, we would start the reconciliation process that way. But you're not actually transferring your book of business to us.
If two spouses are in the business, how does the Legacy Addendum program work?
So wonderful question, because there was some thought that, listen, if it's husband and wife, you don't need it, because if you pass away, the wife would take over the business and vice versa. But what I would tell you is you still need it, because as a husband and wife, you likely do a lot of things together. You could bump off in the same car wreck, so you want to have the form just as a safeguard in the event that you both pass away. So maybe you want it to go to your kids or your mother and father. We would be the plan B, and we're more than fine with that. So we have a great agency partner in Texas. Husband and wife are both integral partners of the business, and they have 3 kids. So we're their plan B if something happens to them together.
Can a one-person corporation sign up for the Legacy program?
Sure, absolutely, 100%. Doesn't matter if you've incorporated for tax reasons, we can still get the AOR and then pay to whoever you want us to pay it to. God forbid something happens to you.
If I leave my book of business to my licensed daughter, will the 10-year rule apply?
So no. So what you could use this form, not turn it into us, but give it to your daughter. We would help, right? So in the event that you pass away, we would help the daughter go to the carriers and AOR the book over into her name, right? She would then service it. But the 10-year rule would apply if we're servicing it. But if we're going to move it in AOR into her name, then it would become her business, and she would service it. And as long as she kept it on the books, it would pay to her. There's one on here that says, "What are the fees for Messer?" There are no fees with Messer. We don't charge any fees. If you'll go back to the advantages page, we actually provide free things, free value to you guys. So we don't charge any fees. Most of the carriers don't even charge appointment fees anymore. Some will still charge you for non-resident states. But yeah, we don't have any fees. Teresa, if you want to call me or email me, I will be glad to share the names of those two carriers with you. Just don't want to do it publicly. I don't want to get in trouble. But you're right. You probably do know who those are. How do we transfer our current clients, or is it only for new clients? You can't upload in MyMFG. There's an upload feature, so you can't upload your clients in there just so that you have the data in our MyMFG enrollment platform so you can service them. That's pretty simple, and if you're confused on that, we have a whole team of people here that will be glad to help you, with that process so you can start using that. So Layla Buford asked the question, it's death by suicide and not committed suicide. I'm not exactly sure what that question is, but the legacy would work even if you passed away through suicide. It's not a life insurance policy, so it wouldn't be null and void. So we would honor your wishes and go after the book to protect whoever your beneficiary is. And I apologize, Leah, if that's the question you're asking. That's the answer. I'm just not sure. So David asked, what do we have in place to service the book? Do you have a call center with captive agents? Are the agents going to try to reach out to the members annually to see if they're still happy with their plans, et cetera? So yes, we have an in-house agency of agents who are career with us, who are paid salary. They don't make commissions. And it would be that team that would be servicing the book. And yes, they will reach out to the clients annually. They'll handle re-enrollments. The whole thing is to protect the book so it doesn't, people don't leave. Again, I'm not going to do as good a job as you. Even with one of the books, from January, there are people who just love you guys, right? And they do business because of you. And when you're not there, they may say, I'm going to do business with my uncle, my sister, somebody else with church because they don't know us. So we'll have some loss of business that's just because we're not you, but we will do our very best to try and keep as much of that business on the books as we can by virtue of having our folks in-house reach out to folks and help them. So somebody asked, will the addendum go to all agents? No, you have to request it. So it's voluntary. So we don't make it part of the regular contract. It's up to you whether you choose to execute the addendum or not. So you just shoot us an email, and you can see the getinfo@messerfinancial.com and just say you want the addendum, and they'll shoot it to you so you can review it. And if you like what you see, then you can sign it and send it back. We'd love to do business with you. So somebody asked a question. So this is for sole proprietors using their Social Security numbers. It doesn't matter. So it could be for a sole proprietor, but it also could be for an agency. If again, you could be an individual and still be an agency, or you could be a partnership. It is not limited to just an individual. Everybody's circumstances are different. So if it made sense for an agency, it's your choice. Somebody asked, could I use the beneficiary addendum if I retire from sales? So I'm not exactly sure I understand, but if you're saying, can you assign your book to us and you retire? The answer is no. We're not going to service the book while you're retired. The legacy is there for God forbid something happens to you. If you want to retire, we're happy to help you. I'm sure I could find any number of agents, put people on this phone call who would like to buy that book from you, so you could sell your book of business and capture some worth of it that way. But the legacy is designed for, God forbid you pass away, not if you retire. So somebody asked, how long will the legacy plan pay? It's 10 years. So somebody asked about reconciliation. Reconciliation is only going to show the applications you wrote through the platform. That's because that's how the platform knows that you wrote the person. And Ergo starts looking for the commissions off of that. So for those of you that have been in business for a long time, it's a process. You're going to start writing your business through there, and it'll be reconciling those as you do it, but it's not going to reconcile your entire book. And of course, if you're new, then it'll reconcile everything from the beginning. So somebody asked if all the applications have to be submitted through our platform, or can they be submitted on the carrier platforms? You certainly can submit stuff on carrier platforms. There's no problem with that at all. It's just a reconciliation feature is not going to work for you because the system isn't going to know that you wrote those to then try and look to balance out your commissions for you. So, and you got to remember, especially on MedAdvantage, you're paid directly on those. So the trigger for us is knowing that you wrote it in the system, so that we can then be looking for it actually on our commission statement, so that we know that you got paid for it. That's the trigger for us, but we don't know that you wrote the business when you write it through a carrier website. What is the 10-year rule? So it's going to pay for 10 years. God forbid you pass away, we're going to pay your beneficiary for 10 years. So now you guys probably know this, but I think statistically MedAdvantage commissions stay on the books for 7 to 8 years. That's average. Some of you guys are tremendous agents and probably had clients for 18 years, but the average is 7 to 8. So we're figuring the book starts to dwindle. So how many carriers do you have with Messer to qualify for the free E&O? So this is a question from Layla. So you have to be what we call a all-in agent with us to get the E&O. So we're looking for you to give us all of your business. And again, we're happy to have individual conversations with you one-on-one, because everybody's circumstances may be different, so we can understand. We do make exceptions if somebody was career someplace. We're not trying to hurt somebody and force them into a situation where they have to terminate something and walk away from money, but that's the general rule for us. So, and of course our E&O wouldn't cover something that's not with us anyway, so that would kind of defeat the purpose for you. So Susan asked, do you find some carriers that don't allow payments like UHC? UHC is the toughest. We have no problem getting the AOR. They're the quickest usually when somebody passes away to stop paying. So we have to move really quickly to make sure we can move the AOR before they decide to stop paying on it. So Layla, appreciate she clarified the suicide comment. It was about somebody jumping off of a bridge. I apologize that I missed it. So, but thank you for clarifying for me. To which email do we send the request for the beneficiary form? It's listed in the screen there for you. So get info@messerfinancial.com. Is there a monthly charge to access the platform? No, we don't charge for any of it. The enrollment is free. The CRM is free. So God forbid, whether it's just your personal edification, did I say something? Or did a client say something? Or, there's an issue with the carrier or the DOI, you're able to go right in and search for it. And if you enrolled Bill Rice, you go right to Bill Rice. It's a WAV file. You can attach it and send it away or just review it. But we have no charges there. So everything is free. If I move my contract from one FMO to Messer, the book would not transfer. Will you be able to acquire the book at death? So yes, to answer your question, Kevin, we would. The book simply refers to the past business, right? So for the terms of your whatever contract you had with the FMO, whether they're paying you or the carrier's paying you, you'd go to your contract. Hopefully they're going to continue to pay you. If you write something new, it'd go with Messer. But both of the policy that say you write 10 with us and you had 10 with the other FMO, all 20 of those are still your book of business. God forbid you pass away, we would go to the carrier, say it's Ann Better. We would say, Kevin had assigned his book to us before he passed, and they would move all 20 of those over to us. We would not get the override on the previous 10 because that would still go back to the other person. So I really would be losing even more money in that case. But it's the right thing to do. Again, we want you to know that we want to protect you and your family, and we're willing to take that risk. Hopefully you live for a long time, but if you passed away the day after you did it, we would honor that agreement and we would service that entire book of business, even though we weren't making a dime on it. So, and happy to do it. So Kevin asked the same question if he has a contract direct with the insurance company like Humana. Yes, exact same thing. It wouldn't matter to us at all. So we would AOR that over after you passed, and we wouldn't be making any override on it. So Gustavo is asking, policies not written under MyMFG be somehow included in MyMFG? Yes, you can upload the policies in there. They're not going to reconcile, but you can upload them in there so that you can write them. So when you come back up to renewal or you're just doing a policy review, you'll have all the information in there. And it's a really cool system, guys, because you're going to list their doctors, their prescriptions, the kids' names. You can list their dogs' names. You can list where you met them. There's lots of unique fields in there, but when you talk to them again, you're going to have all that information already in there. So you can pull reports, so to send, birthday cards. You can list their anniversaries. It's a really, really good system. So if someone says, if I choose to retire, I sell my book to my daughter for $1 and be legal. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And we would help. We would help in that process because they're not likely going to know what to do. We would help in that process to go to the carriers and affect the AORs over to your daughter, no problem. So how are you notified if I died? Wonderful question. So I have no way of knowing if you passed away. When you do this addendum, so in both cases, the agents that had done this addendum had notified their beneficiary, and so they knew to reach out to us and let us know. It's very, very critical, especially on Med Advantage, because the clock starts ticking. So you don't want to let us know 6 months later because it may be too late. Some of the carriers may have already terminated you and kept your money. So when you do the addendum, please notify your beneficiary who that is, so that they know who we are and have a process to notify us after you've passed away. So somebody asked about Med-Sup plans. Yes, Med-Sup plans are included. So if you pass away, if you list them on the addendum, we would go and we would AOR those products over as well, so we can pay your beneficiary. So, and Pamela asked the same question. Supplements are part of the process. So happy to talk with any of you because there were several questions in here about retiring. So more than happy to talk with you guys and help. Not only will we, help you find somebody to purchase the book, we'll finance that book for one of our agents who wants to acquire it as well. So if that interests anybody, we're happy to have that conversation and help with that part as well. So Layla asked again questions about carriers. So Layla, we have multiple programs. So we have what's called a MedStar program, an ACI Star program, which means you have all your ACA with us, or you have all your Med Advantage with us, and then we have All In, which means you have everything with us. Each of those plans have different benefits. And we'd love to talk with you about it, offline and share with you the value of each of those and what it would require. So Teresa asked, are we currently buying books of business that we don't have already? Sure, absolutely. We absolutely would be willing to have that conversation with you guys. Can we have a secondary beneficiary once the primary beneficiary dies? Absolutely, 100% you can. In the case of the older gentleman that passed away in January, his wife is the primary. She's his same age, so she may not live 10 years, right? If she passes away 2 years from now, the contingent beneficiaries are both of his sons, 50-50. So that's actually in the form already for us. So you just need to be, if you have something different, that you want to happen, you just let us know. So Linda asked me about, she's in Pennsylvania, and she has 2 carriers that we don't have. Linda, we would just want to talk with you. Let me try and understand what's going on there. I'm all about trying to come up with solutions. I want to help people. I don't want to hurt people. So I would just need to understand why I don't have those 2 particular carriers, and maybe we would make an exception for you. So if we have everything else. So the last question, guys, do carriers have a requirement to be notified immediately upon death of an agent? They do have a requirement to be notified. They are notified from the government, obviously, if the government is notified. So I lost my father last year, and I notified, he was retired Air Force. And I notified them, and before I could call Social Security, they had notified Social Security, like within that day. So they're going to know whether you notify them or not, but it is part of the process to notify them. So, but the fastest I've seen, and again, as United, was right at the 60-day mark. The other carriers, it could be 90, 120 days. That's it, guys. Those are all of the questions. I apologize if I missed anybody's, but we have built this program for you guys to help protect you and your families the same way you go out and you work every day to protect your clients. So I know many of you on this call who are amazing agents who I personally would be thrilled to have as an agent because I know you care about your clients and protecting them. You are my client. It's our job to protect you. And as a good partner, we wanted to offer this type of program. I'm not making money in this program. We're losing money in this program, but it's the right thing to do. I want you guys to know that we're here to protect you and help you, and we're in it for the long haul with you guys. So there's lots of value in this program and the others that are in there. But I hope if you're with Messer that this shows you our commitment to you and our continued commitment to you. And if you're not with Messer, I hope I've given you some things to consider about the value that we offer that maybe you're not getting from your current FMO, and we would love an opportunity to talk with you. Even if we're your B option, we would still love to have that conversation with us. So thank you guys for your time. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Take care. Thank you.